Today's sponsor is our friends at Ian's Display Accessories, the best choice for vintage Kenner Star Wars, Hasbro G.I. Joe, as well as modern Black Series, G.I. Joe Classifieds, and Marvel Legends. Ian's, an official Star Wars vendor. Also, our friends at TGC Customs. Not satisfied with Hasbro's offerings on weapons and accessories, or you're just looking to replace with vintage era accessories, TGC Customs is our go-to. Go check out their Etsy store. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Now, I wasn't expecting to drop another video, especially after yesterday's epic Cobra Convergence 6 event where I brought in our good friend Comic Tropes and we broke down and revisited the letdown that was known as G.I. Joe Transformers Generation 2 crossover event in the comics. If you haven't, please make sure to watch that. It is really freaking good. I'm not saying that because I created it, but finally we get to do a deep dive into seeing what is arguably one of the biggest letdowns for Gen Xers. But you'll be surprised on what my final take is when we revisit this and do a proper deep dive. It's a 50-minute long video. So needless to say, I was wiped and spent after it finally was debuted and unveiled. But the reason why we're doing today's video is because something arrived in the mail that I've been looking forward to. Again, I don't do much toy stuff. I do a little bit, but not too much because of our good friends Hooded Cobra Commander 788, Forum BX257, Timmer from Half the Battle, Peg Warmers, and Joe Motion 82. Those guys have that covered good. But hey, you know what? I think the more the merrier, right? So today we're gonna look at the G.I. Joe Classifieds Cobra Officer. This was another Hasbro Pulse exclusive, but it ended up Big Bag Toy Store also was selling it. And I think that this is something I've been looking forward to because if you see back there, we got the Hasbro Timber. So Hasbro Pulse just released their O-ring, and we also have I touch this like it's very careful. The 1982 straight arm Cobra Officer, one of the figures I totally love in my collection. So of course I'm gonna pick this one up. And just to show you, let's flip it back this way. We also have the two different variants for the Cobra Trooper, the Target Cobra Island, and then just a regular release to general public. So we got those as well. So we're gonna look at this and just give it a look. Don't forget to watch the episode when I actually looked at the Cobra Viper, where we did a complete historic, like a Mythos breakdown. What is the difference between an officer and a regular? What the difference between a Cobra Viper and a regular Cobra Trooper? And I'm still getting comments from people. That episode was 2 years old, so it's been fun to listen to other people's take on how they place a Cobra Trooper versus a Cobra Viper. So to this day, I still enjoy reading everybody's take on those characters. So let's take a look, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So that's why, after all that, I'm ready to do another video. So here we go. Alright, so I think it's kind of fun. Let's do what we already know, and which I just mentioned a few seconds ago. Everything started with the 1982 straight arm, and of course the notorious silver paint app that, do not touch. That's like nuclear toxic waste to G.I. Joe collectors. How easily that thing has rubbed off on so many people. We got the his tank driver is one of them that pops into mind. His rubs off, as well as the Crimson Guard. You know, those are other characters that have suffered the same fate. And of course, recently, Hasbro Pulse, after listening to the fans, have decided to reissue O-ring figures after the retro line failed. Speaking of the retro line, all right, so I forgot I had the retro line as well, as we see here. Isn't it funny? Like, I totally forgot and overlooked that. Pretty much the premises on why they stopped issuing these, because they just did not sell. But still, like, I don't care. Like, you know, I mean, the card art you see between the two different versions of it. I'm going to make you guys sick with all the moving around. Sorry about that. But you see the two side by side, the difference of it, and it's actually quite noticeable from the package art. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool that we got to do many iterations of this particular character, and I'm probably one of the few people that has the female equivalent of this character in the Nightstalkers female Cobra Officer. This was a G.I. Joe Club exclusive. Man, and if you guys know me, my regulars know that I have a whole battalion of female Cobra Troopers. You know, that's my little niche, my really only thing that I collected in the modern figures. And let's go take a look at that, just to show you the people that aren't regulars. But we have a whole bunch of, you could see like all the female. So I'm one of the, everybody has their own little thing in their collection, and that was what I focused in on when G.I. Joe started to look like this. So I wanted to get, because we never got that in the vintage era. We never got female, that many female characters. So that was my little niche when I was, when I decided to collect modern figures. So hey, I'm one of the few people that could show you not only the male but the female version of the same character, which I think is pretty cool. So what we're going to look at today is actually the G.I. Joe Classifieds Cobra Officer. So there's a lot of things to make note of, a lot of difference between when it was first introduced as the Cobra Island Target exclusive. So let's open this thing up and take a deep dive into this wonderful character. So let's take a look at the box. All right, the box art. I remember when I saw this, the images of this initially, and I couldn't get it because it sold out in 2 seconds. But man, does that look scary. It looks like a Third Reich propaganda thing, and that's what it's supposed to instill. And these guys are not nice, so I like that. And also, just if you look at the box, the back of it is different from the initial waves. I've noticed that now we're getting this new wave of box art that's coming out for the G.I. Joe Classified. So I know HCC probably pointed that out when he was doing his unboxings. But yeah, that, I just think that's cool. And of course, there's my man, Barbecue. If you guys watch my top 10, Barbecue is number uno on mine. He was my first Joe, because my dad was a United States Marine during Vietnam, and he hated guns. So we were not allowed to have any toys with guns. That's how much the war affected my pops. Like, he's like, I don't want to see you guys play with guns, have fake guns, so on and so forth. He don't talk about it, but that was just the rule. But so Barbecue was my gateway. But then, he kind of relaxed towards the end, but still, in those formidable years, no guns. And that we're going to take a look at that. Like, I like the guns that is included versus the ones that came out with the initial wave. And if you see mine, thanks to our sponsor, TGC Customs, for hooking us up with a proper AKA. I still haven't painted yet because I'm still working on the episode of the 3D print guys, which will be a look at the 3D printing sector in our wonderful community. It is like a college level. It is like I'm back at work as being an auditor because it was so, from interviews and talking to people, it is so vast that there is no way in hell I could have done it for Cobra Convergence. So expect a comprehensive look at, to celebrate these guys because I think sometimes they're misunderstood. But anyway, that is from TGC Customs. And let's open this bad boy and take a look. So here we have everything out of the contents. I'm using my laptop because the tabletop is black. And if you guys have watched other episodes when I did this, I use the the laptop to better showcase all the accessories. And right off the bat, like I said, they are improving the guns. But I had someone who I was talking to who actually liked the Nerf gun like offerings because they like Nerf guns. So it was cool that they incorporated Nerf guns into the GI Joe weaponry, and I totally didn't think about that. Like how some people actually like Beachhead's uh, gun was a pure was offered as a Nerf gun, and I totally didn't like think about that or consider that. But it just shows how our community could like break away into different segments that you just have to be open minded and listen to it. So I hear that, but still, I don't like it. So I'm glad that there are 3D guys out there, they're offering such services. So let's put this together and compare it with the other guys. Alrighty, so here he is, and wow, I'm impressed. Here we have him next to his 1982 Papa. I think that's the right way to describe it, but wow, look at that. I love the insignia. His ranking bar right there. And I like that he's tan, he's brown. He's like me. Well, I would never be on the bad guy's side, but still I just like that, he has a little pigment to him. So I hope that they offer like different, like, like maybe that's what I think they could do with these troopers, like they did with the Cobra Nightstalkers. They had a um, let's go take a quick look. So if you notice, like, since I'm here, like with the Night Stalkers, they had an African American, and then the girls have different color hairs. You could see the auburn colored hair, the brunette, the brown. I mean, they did this. That's why I collected so many female Cobra Troopers, is because they have different colors, different variations of these iconic characters, or new characters, I should say. But yeah, this one is striking. I like the accessories. Let me reposition him. Okay, now repositioned with his 25th. Well, they call it the retro line, but I'm still going to call it the 25th anniversary one because that's when this particular body type sculpting came out. And wow, they did a pretty good job with that. It just looks good with the artwork in the background. That is a shot right there. I should take a picture of that. That is cool. And of course, just telling people, we always use Ian display stands, whether it be the vintage or even these classified figures. The link will be on the bottom. And if you guys watch the episodes I did about Ian's display accessories stands, actually, Ian is located about 2 towns over, and he's become the official Star Wars vendor for the Kenner figures and the Black Series. So here he is with his battalion taking lead. That looks nice. So let's get a closer look and compare the difference between the Trooper and the officer. This is going to be a little tricky, but we'll do our best. So the face sculpts are slightly different, I would say. Of course, the vests are totally different. You see that his knife holder is like, where the trooper has it like readily available on his vest, where the officer has it, on his thigh. He has a firearm ready. I like the vest of the trooper a lot better, just from tactical purposes. Like, this is, of course, he's an officer, so he's not going to be like in the front lines or in close quarters, like whereas the trooper will be. So it makes sense that the trooper has that look, and he's just ready. Like, everything is just the movement away. Like, if that's out, you have to grab something else. If that's out, you got to grab something else. So it's good to see that. I like that. The back, you see that the legs are kind of slightly different. You don't have those paddings that he has. Yeah. Let me position the camera a little bit. I don't know how these toy guys do this, but yeah, if you see that, the legs are slightly different. Let's try it from this side. Lateral positioning. Posterior positioning. Helmet is also different. There's a lot of differences between these two figures, so that's good. That is definitely good. And back to the interior positioning. Probably a little tangent or axial. I'm remembering all the anatomy positions. That's pretty good. So here's a good way we could end it. I mean, this is how I would picture things unfolding. I'm really excited. I've been really happy seeing how everybody's responses when we did our episode concerning the Cobra Viper, how their scenarios on where they would place the figures, and when I did the comic Mythos concerning the distinction between the Trooper and the Viper. I think they should make a Viper officer, actually, because obviously the Cobra officer would be delegating, again, going by Larry Hama and the Mythos, the Cobra officer would be telling the Viper what to do. He has seniority over the Viper. Again, I think that would play out. That's how this would play out. But again, this is a wonderful. I'm really satisfied. Again, remember, I was one of the people that were not on board with the 6-inch just because of Star Wars Black Series. The sculpts and how Star Wars at the time were horrendous, and I was like, oh no, they're gonna. And this is what I think of this is my GI Joe. This is what I grew up with. This is what I love, and this is near and dear to my heart. Yes, I like the O-rings, the reissue ones, but I have one of those people that have to say I'm a convert. I converted. I'm open to this. I like what they're doing with it. I love how the GI Joe team. It's like heads and tails in their against their contemporaries at Hasbro Pulse. It seems like the GI Joe team are also passionate and delivering things to the fans, and this is definitely, with that, this is that 82 figure. That is one of a cherished figure to me. And you see, I don't have any weapons. I'm not going to put anything to chance on him. Even when I changed out his O-ring, that was like, intensive surgery for that. But this is a win, guys. I definitely think that this is a great figure. Thanks for watching. Even though we do mostly comic stuff, I always throw in some extra goodies just for fun. And hopefully this will pop in your feed. And if you're new to the channel, just check out all the other episodes that we do, especially our last Cobra Convergence 50-minute extravaganza featuring the G.I. Joe Transformers Generation 2 crossover. So I have to say, Cobra Officer, is a win. We'll see you next time.